All right, we are starting a new series this month. Hey, baby. And it is about healing. So I wanted to start with the very first healing that Jesus did. And when we all know Jesus taught divine ideas, and he taught you're a child of God, and he taught the wisdom of the universe. But when he did the healings, people listened. They could intellectualize and say, possible, possible, possible. But when he said, now let me show you what the highest possibility of the universe is, they listened. And this story we're going to start with is his very first healing. And the intention of our series this month is to break it down to some simple format, simple basic understandings. That's our goal. You know Cindy. That's our goal. All right, the first healing that we know of, we do not know of anything before this moment in time. He is between, chronologically, 16 to 24, so he's in his early teens, and he is in the Tibetan area, West India. He went to study with, I call him Mingst, the correct pronunciation. And with Mingst, he read all the ancient books and all the ancient theology that the world had about God, the universe, healing. Then he went to teach the people of the land. So it says that he was staying in a monastery and teaching with a priest, and then he went to the common people in the marts of trade. Not far away, a woman lived, whose infant son was nigh unto death. The doctors had declared, there is no hope, this child must die. The woman heard that Jesus was a teacher sent from God. Now, she is in a faith. She lives in a world where her faith is all around her. She has been raised in a faith. Do you understand what I'm saying? But she heard about Jesus, and she knew he was different. He was different. Now, he hadn't healed anyone yet, but she knew he was different. So she believed he had the power to heal her son. She clasped the dying infant in her arms and ran with haste and asked to see the man of God. Not a priest of her faith, but the man of God. When Jesus saw her faith, he lifted his eyes to heaven and said, My Father God, let power divine o'ershadow me, and let the holy breath fill full this child that it may live. In the presence of the multitude, he laid his hand upon the child and said, Good woman, you are blessed. Your faith has saved your son. And then the child was well. And the people were astonished. Surely this is the Holy One made flesh, for man alone cannot rebuke such a fever and save a child from death. And then many people, what did they do next? Brought their sick. They started coming forward. They said, heal me. They started receiving the gift that Jesus had brought. But it was opened by a woman who had faith in this man she did not know, but she knew he was a man of God, and she knew her faith. She knew he could heal her child. Does it say it's a boy? I believe it was a little boy. I don't know. So when we're dealing with this story, we want to break it down to just some of the basic components. Jesus was approached by the woman. We often hear stories of parents bringing their children to Jesus, and don't we all rush our children for help when a child is in trouble? Her faith took action. Her faith, she did not question, can you? Do you think you can? I know you can. Her faith took action. So to truly have faith, we have to look at it in a new way. Some of us think of faith as hit and hope. Maybe it'll happen. Faith and hope are not the same. Faith is a consciousness. By definition in our dictionary, it is a trust or confident belief. But to truly have faith, we must be able to act upon that faith. It must be something that we live with. If I have faith in something, I live it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is a silly example, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Do you have faith in your weatherman? I mean, do you look at him every morning and say, what shall I wear today? What shall I do? What shall I do, weatherman? And then live your life according to what he says? No. But do you look at him for insights, for guidance? possibilities. And then who makes the choice of how you dress and how you go? You do. So you are cooperating with this man of intelligence. You are working with him, but do you have faith in him? But we honor him and respect him. Faith is different. Faith is something that we live completely and walk. You got me? So faith is being one with, it's living, it's action, and the woman had faith in Jesus for her child. So there we go. When we look at this story, we're looking at the consciousness, the idea that the woman's consciousness interceded for the baby. The baby obviously couldn't ask for its own healing. But you hear what I'm saying? The woman's consciousness interceded for the baby. When you have children, you actually have an enveloping aura around your child until they're adults. And your prayer for that child is very powerful, because they're still living in your consciousness. They're still a part of your consciousness, your nurturing, your space. So the parent prayer is strong, it's powerful, because we are still connected, we are still somewhat one with the children. But that consciousness bridging can occur between adults as well. Entering a state of consciousness through faith can bridge two hearts, okay? I wanted to share a story with you about a healing that occurred not too long ago. And I'm going to do it side by side. Okay. With permission. He gives it. He doesn't know it. So this happened 3 or 4 years ago, and you were all a part of it too. So I'm sharing it with you. My son, we lived in the same area, basically the same home his whole life. I moved around a lot, and I did not want to do that to my child. He was going to the same school, and he has some of his friends that he met when he was a year old in daycare. I mean, he has a group of guys that he has been with all these 30 years, and he's still with them. Well, several years ago, one of them, David got an urge to call him, and he didn't, I don't know why he called, but he called him, and he didn't call him back. So David called him again. And he didn't call him back, and David started getting concerned. But then he called back. The young man called back, and the young man was hysterical. His mom, who David loved as a second mom, he bought her flowers on Mother's Day. He loved her. His mom was in the hospital, and what the doctors had said, they'd done some heart surgery, and the doctors had said to him and his family, her body's shutting down. She's not going to make it. You need to get the family here to say goodbye. And this is what David is hearing from his friend about this woman that he grew up with and that he loved dearly. And his friend did not call him for prayer. His friend called him back because he'd reached out. But a serendipitous time, So she was getting ready to cross, and they were all going to the hospital. So David called me, emotional, of course. I knew her. We loved her. And he said, Mom, I can't let this happen without calling out the big guns. And I said, we're on it, baby. And we started sending Reiki. I have a Reiki strand on my phone. Reiki is that energy that we send in prayer. We got her in the basket. We got prayer going to her. We put her on the Reiki train. We got all the energy of the church possible going to this woman for the highest healing possible. We sent it for her highest healing, but not our will, God, be done, but yours. Do you hear what I'm saying? Your will be done, God, not ours, but we want to send it for the highest healing possible. I think it only took a day, and the doctors were shocked. Her body started responding and fighting. Her body started to fight. And then David was told that they had done something in her hand, and the hand had no blood circulation to it, so they were going to have to amputate if she lived. And so they were now deciding when should they amputate. So we put her back out for that specific thing. Target it now, the hand. What happened to the hand? It was healed. And we watched this step by step as this woman came back into her consciousness and allowed the healing to come inside. Now, I will tell you, they probably had everybody praying for her. But the Reiki, the energy, the prayer, the consolidated force of highest healing for this woman, not our will, God, but thine be done, quickened within her life force to receive. She had to choose to receive it, but it quickened within her life force to receive. In that moment, what we're seeing is bridging of consciousness. We're seeing that our consciousness, who live it. Do we have faith? When we send Reiki, do we think it's hitting hope? When we send a prayer, do we think it's hitting hope? Or do we know God's going to send energy, whether it's received or not? We stand in it. We know the energy is going. We can feel the energy. God love is engulfing that situation right now for the highest possible. And it opened her heart to receive. Now she's happy, healthy, totally perfect, and this is probably a vague memory in her mind of this entire occurrence when the family got called to her deathbed. That's connecting consciousness. You guys hear me? Pray for one another that you might be healed is actually a reality. But when you're praying from faith, that knowing that you know, that is where the power of the light goes. It's not a hidden hope. It's, God, I know you're going to do something. Thy will be done. Put it out there. All right. I will also mention this. The family probably did not even think about calling David because the family was in shock. You are in shock. When you're told something like that, you don't know what to do, right? And you go in shock. Well, I'm going to tell you what to do. When you're told something like that, you pick up the phone and call anybody that's got faith in God and grab onto them. Grab onto them and hold on tight. You grab onto someone who has the same consciousness or a stronger consciousness or anything. You grab hold and you don't let go because they can bridge for you that which you cannot feel at any given moment because they have that. You guys with me on that? Okay. So, and that bridging is so important. You know, when I was young and I would have my problems, you know I loved my dad. My dad never talked about God. My mom talked to God every single day. Every day she talked to God. When I am hurting or crying, who did I call? I call my mom. Mom, pray for me. Tell me what God said. Talk to God right now. I need to talk to God right now. I can't hear God. I can't hear God. Boy, I'm upset when I can't hear God. Talk to me. Now, the earth might have shattered if I'd called my dad to pray for me. But I always called my mom because I could trust her faith. The bridging of consciousness is so important. I will tell you the other thing. When you are faced with a trauma, call someone that has successfully navigated that trauma. And they can say, I got you. Here's your lifeline. I got you. You know? I had to do that so many times. As a minister, I do it. If I know someone that's been through something. When David lost his dad, we had a member who had lost his dad as a teenager as well. He was on the phone in seconds. Pray now, because you've been through this. You've got the consciousness to succeed. Pray now. Pray for him. You hear me? And he probably thought, why is she calling me? I'm not a leader, so to speak. No, but you've got it in you. You've got it in you. You guys hear me? Okay. So what I'm talking about is bridging consciousness for others. And when we have the faith, we can do it. And when we are in that shock moment, we reach out. Okay? All right. Because shock blocks healing. Shock blocks healing. Okay. All right. The woman had the faith in God's healing through Jesus. We have the faith in God's healing through the Reiki, the Jesus, the prayer, the energy. We have that faith. So to pray, this is why we pray with you all the time. We have our Reiki train that you can get on, and we send you Reiki. We have our prayer minister that stands up here at the end of every service. If you have an issue, you can pray with them, you know. We have the Tuesday night. We do our prayer circle on Tuesday night. There is power in that energy of praying for whatever you need. All right. Someone who is stronger, who lives their faith, is always an asset to you. And they will always lovingly take that moment, because then you will be strong for them in a moment. You understand? There'll be a moment when you'll be strong for them. Okay. Faith is in the power of God's love. Faith in the power of God's love. Divine intervention, we always send our prayer, our Reiki, our intention of God's love for divine intervention, God's will be done, not mine. Whenever there's an accident or something's happening in a country or something, something happening that I would not want for myself or the people going through it, my prayer is always, Father, I ask for divine intervention for the situation, everyone involved. I ask for the highest healing for each one, whatever that might be, that their angels are with them, that they feel the love of Jesus Christ, that they are not alone, that they don't feel alone, and that they feel your love. And as I put that prayer out to whatever the situation might be, the ambulance going by, whatever it might be, I know that whatever that soul needs to experience, they can experience it in a more gentle and loving way. Do you hear me? So the prayer for healing is for the highest and best for all involved, not my will. Of course, my will would be everybody's down the planet, let's play, right? Let's all be happy and wealthy and let's all play together. That's Cindy's will. But that won't let anybody do their job or learn their lessons or really understand their greater relationship with Spirit. We all have to learn in our own way. So divine intervention is about allowing God's love to move through us in a way that supports the soul journey of the individual. Okay? I wanted to share one more story. One more story? You're a part of this story. You all know and love Juanita. She has been a member of this church for 30 years. And her husband, Jeff, you love him. He's been out working in the festival. He's a very delightful man. He comes and helps all the time. And when he was, they were closer, it was more frequent, then they moved out in the boonies. So, but, we love them both. And I guess it was 3 years ago, Jeff had something done with his heart, and he went into a coma. And he wasn't coming out. And the doctors didn't know what was happening. They kept waiting for days. And, of course, during that time, Juanita's on our Reiki train. Every one of us was sending Reiki and prayers for Jeff, highest healing for Jeff. I'm talking with Juanita. She's making the steps. How are you doing? How is he doing? And when I would send it, I could sense his spirit was kind of above, like he was full of light. There was love and angels. It felt perfect. But I didn't know if he was going to come back. Like, I don't know if he was going to wake up. And I actually mentioned that to Juanita because I don't want to withhold, and she's family. I said, girl, I don't know if he's going to wake up. And she goes, I know. I don't either. So we kept prayer work going, and it was beautiful. The energy around him was beautiful, and at the right moment, he did cross. And Patrick and I, and some of us went to the memorial service, and we were, meeting his family and friends, and his brother came to us. To talk to Patrick, the minister of the church. And he was chatting with him. And, of course, I just intercede. Okay, I'm going to talk too. And I said how much we loved Jeff, how great he was, and how much we were praying and sending Reiki for him the whole time. It was amazing. And he said to me, he was a standard Christian. He's not metaphysical. He said to me, well, sometimes prayers are not answered. And I went, no, there were angels all around him when he crossed. It was awesome. He was surrounded with love. It was beautiful. He had God with him. Talk to Patrick. He didn't mean to, but I made no sense to him at all. That how someone crosses is important. That they're not alone, they're not afraid, that they have that love of Spirit with them. It just made no sense at all. And I was really clear that a lot of us still have that in our consciousness of, yo, God, this is not what I prayed for. Even us, we still do. God, I want to be happy, healthy, loving, kind. Hey, this is not what I prayed for, God. Where does that fit in healthy, happy, loving, kind? Instead of trusting thy will be done. And whatever your will for me is wiser than my will for me. Whatever I need to experience, whatever a soul needs to experience. Jesus made a comment about John the Baptist. Someone said, why did he have to die? And Jesus said, if he had stayed one more day and said one more word, it would have been of no value. He was done. And he did and accomplished what his soul needed. So Jeff was done. And we can celebrate what a great guy he was. He was a beautiful man. He was kind and loving. And he loved our Juanita. I mean, hey. When a soul is done, they're done. And we need to celebrate them home and celebrate their life, you know? And we can understand that maybe, but what about the little things that we ask for that we also get in a different way? Can we understand that? Do we need to stop and ask for greater clarity? Okay. We ask for God's will to be done, not ours. We also say, but if it's possible, if it is possible, God, I would like it this way. And we do ask that. And that's fine. That's fine. Our connection to God to call forth the light must be received by the person we're calling it forth. It must be received by them. They cannot receive it. They have to receive it. It's their choice. All right. Jesus said this about faith, and he was actually young when he said this. This is in chapter 22, 26. Faith is the certainty of the omnipotence of God and man, semicolon. That's a sentence. Faith is the certainty of the omnipotence of God and man. Do you see God and man? It's not God in man. It's not God, and then maybe man can pick up a little bit. The certainty of the all-powerfulness of God and man. Are you hearing? That's faith. The certainty that man will reach the divine life. The certainty that we are children of God, and we will reach that awareness and that ability to be the divine child of God. Faith. Faith, the certainty of the power of God and man, and the certainty that we are God's children. Can we live that? Can we act on that? And when we say, God, thy will be done, and something crooked happens, can we say, yay, God, that crooked's interesting. Ouch. Give me the peace, the strength, and let me call my friend on the phone to pray with me. I'm having an ouch. Let me reach out. Okay. Divine intervention, if you think about this, is God vibration of love, force, and wisdom. When we say divine, God, intervention, God vibration of force, love, and wisdom. There is the energy to accomplish, there is the love, and there is the knowing of right action. Divine intervention. Why would we not call forth that in every healing modality? And in every moment of our life as well. What is for each soul is for them, and God's wisdom is greater than my attachment or my desire. You guys hear me? God's wisdom is greater than my attachment or my desire, yet I have the right to ask because I have the power of God light in me. I don't have the knowing yet, but I have the power within me, the faith in me to act and ask. So this beautiful woman stepped out of nowhere and said of all the mystical, she's in a land of mysticism, of all the mysticism in the world around her, you are God's man. You are a man of God, and I know you can heal my child. You are a man of God. That faith, calling forth healing for yourself or another, is powerful. It is always in motion. It always happens. It never does not happen. It happens to the level and the degree that the soul can receive. Got it? How simple was that? Okay. Well, we're going to go within just to anchor it in this morning. So just breathe. And as you feel the chair below you, you feel yourself sitting in comfort, just feel a beautiful light engulfing you. There is no place in the world that I'd rather be than in the moment of God love. Feel that light just surrounding you. God love is around me and within me. And I want you just to feel your body, feel your heart. And I want you just to ask, is there anyone in my world that I would like to send a healing prayer for? Whoever comes forward, whoever steps up in your mind, they don't have to be sick. To your knowledge, they just might need a healing prayer. Whoever steps up, let that be perfect. And in your mind's eye, just see them standing there. Feeling the love of God, I want you to call forth the presence of Jesus Christ into your column of light. Hold his hand. And we know the healing love. Father, Mother God, we now call forth the highest healing for this person who has stepped forward. The highest healing at a causal level of whatever they might be experiencing. We ask their angels step forward, their guardians are with them, they are held in your love. And we ask that they have an open heart to receive the healing energy that now comes to them. The highest healing possible, Father, thy will be done, not mine. And just feel the presence of Jesus Christ step over and place his hand on their heart. And let them know that they know. They are divine. And as he steps back, just see this person being lifted up, taken back into their time space, safe in God's heart. And take Jesus Christ by the hand one more time. And thank him. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for opening us. Thank you for guiding us. We walk with you. Feel your heart expanding. Take a breath. And let your awareness come back to that beautiful calm of light filled with God love. I am in faith. The knowing certainty that God and I are one. And we love you, God. Take a breath. Let your awareness come back to your chair. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. So, faith and God's will. 2 simple points. Say, yea, God.
Yea, God.